Hello, friends, and welcome to Room 9, our region's largest classroom. My name is Mrs. Huson, and I usually teach kindergarten for Hancock Elementary in the Hancock Place School District, which is located in South St. Louis County. But today I'm here to teach you a second grade social studies lesson. And don't worry, even if you are not in second grade, you absolutely can stick around and join me and learn some fun, new, interesting information. So we're going to go ahead and get started. Thanks again for joining me. We have been talking a lot about America in my previous lessons over the last few weeks. And today we're going to talk a little bit more about America, but in a much different way. We're going to be talking about goods and services, and we're going to have some discussion about money. What kind of money do we use here in America, in the United States of America? So we're going to start our lesson by talking about a few vocabulary words. So the first thing that I want to talk to you about are goods. What are goods? So I have a vocabulary card here that shows us the definition of what a good is. So goods are objects that you buy to use or to keep. So a really good example of something that would be a good would be if you went to the grocery store and you bought food. Okay, so you use money to buy food and take it home to use it or keep it in the refrigerator. Okay, so goods are objects that you buy to use or to keep. The next word that I would like to talk about is services. So services are jobs that you pay someone else to do for you. So for example, when you go to the grocery store, there are people that work in the grocery store. And if you go to the deli, they might slice lunch meat or cheese for you. Or if you go to the meat department, they might cut a steak for you. Or in the produce department, they put the apples and oranges and salad mixes out onto the shelves. And you are not buying that person, right? You're buying their service. You're paying for their service. So when you go into a grocery store and you buy the food, a little part of the money that you spend on the food goes to pay for the service that you receive from the people that work at the grocery store. So that would be the service, okay? Maybe they bag your groceries, or they, at the cashier, rings all your groceries up and takes your money. So those are all services, okay? Another word that I'd like to talk about is consumer. A consumer is someone who uses goods or services. So the example that I would like to share for consumer, sticking with that grocery store trend that we're talking about, the consumer would be you. When you get home and you eat your groceries that you purchased from the grocery store, you become the consumer. So you're using the goods that you bought. So you are a consumer. Another word that I would like to talk about is producer. A producer is someone who provides goods or services. So perhaps the producer in this situation could be a farmer. The farmer grows the fruits and vegetables to sell to the grocery store that in turn sells it to you. Okay? So producer is someone who provides goods or services. This word is supply. Supply is the amount of goods or services that is available. So if we're talking about the grocery store, the supply would be the food on the shelves at the grocery store. Okay, so the shelves are filled with food. That's the supply. That's how much or the amount of goods that you have available to you. Okay. Another word I would like to talk about is demand. Okay, so demand is how badly consumers want a good or service. So the demand, if all of the food in the grocery store is on the shelves and you go down an aisle and you really need some ketchup, but the brand of ketchup that you really need is all sold out, that tells me that perhaps the demand on that particular ketchup is high. And maybe the grocery store needs to order more, or the producer needs to make more because the demand on that product is high. And the last word that I want to talk about is the word barter. So barter is the trade, so to trade services or goods without exchanging any money. So if you were to barter with somebody, the example that I'd like to share is maybe my neighbor went to the grocery store and I went to the grocery store, and I bought 2 boxes of pasta and only one jar of pasta sauce. And maybe my neighbor forgot pasta altogether, but bought 2 jars of pasta sauce. And so we could make a trade. I could say, well, I'll give you 1 box of pasta for 1 jar of your pasta sauce. That would be a barter because we're not exchanging any money, we're just exchanging our goods. Okay? We made a deal. Barter. Okay? So those words are words that we will be hearing in our lesson today. Okay? So goods, objects that you buy to use or keep. Services, jobs that you pay someone else to do for you. Consumer, someone who uses goods or services. Producer, someone who provides goods or services. Supply, the amount of goods or services that is available. Demand, how badly consumers want a good or service. And barter, to trade services or goods without exchanging money. Okay. So, speaking of money, goods and services are paid for using money, okay? So I wanted to show you a few examples of what our money looks like. Now, I have some pretend money here that I'm going to show you, and I want to show you up close. So the first that I wanted to show you is a penny, okay? So here is a penny. This is the front of the penny. Also, we call that the head, right? Heads. And this would be tails. This is the back of the penny. Okay, and a penny is worth 1 cent. So I actually have a poem that I use to remind my kindergartners of how much a penny is worth. It goes, penny, penny, easily spent, copper brown, worth 1 cent. Okay, so that is a penny, and it's worth 1 cent. There's also a nickel. So this is the front or the head of the nickel, and this is the back or tail of the nickel. And a nickel is worth 5 cents. So I go nickel, nickel, thick and fat, you're worth 5, I know that. So a nickel is worth 5 cents. There's also a dime. So here's the head or the front of the dime and the tail or back of the dime. And a dime is worth 10 cents. Dime, dime, little and thin, I remember you're worth 10. And the last coin that I want to talk about is the quarter. So here's the front of the quarter and the back of the quarter. And a quarter is worth 25 cents. Quarter, quarter, big and bold, worth 25, so I'm told. Okay. And then even more, there's more coins. Those are just the most used coins, but there are more coins like the $50 and There's even dollar coins that are worth a whole dollar. But there's also bills, okay? So there's lots and lots and lots of bills too. But here are a few of my pretend bills. I have a $1 bill and a $5 bill and a $10 bill. But there's $20 bills and $50 bills and even $100 bills. There's lots of different bills too. So anyway, the point of me showing you all of these different types of money is because when you buy goods or services, you need money to do that, okay? So you use money to purchase goods or services. But remember, if you are going to barter, you're not going to use money. You're going to trade goods or services, okay? All right, so the next thing that I want to talk about is, well, what is a good and what is a service? So I have a little sort that I'd like to work on with you, okay? So over here on my orange chart, we are going to put the word goods up here. And on the other side, we will put the word services. And I have some pictures. And we're going to use our pictures to figure out if it is a good or if it is a service, okay? So remember, a good is an object that you buy to keep or use, and a service is a job that you pay someone else to do for you, okay? So let's look at our pictures and try to decide if it's a good or if it is a service, okay? So, soda pop, okay? Some people call it soda, some people call it pop, so I put soda pop. Is this a good that you would buy to use, or is this a service that you would pay someone to do for you? Right, this is a good. So we're gonna put this right here under the word goods. Towing, okay? So think about this. If your car broke down and it had to get towed, would this be a good or a service? Is this something that you pay for to keep, or is this a service that you pay someone to do for you? Right, that is a service. So we're going to put that right there under the word service. Vet. If your dog or your cat or any of your pets at home become ill and you have to take them to the vet, are you paying for a good or are you paying for a service? Yes, this would be a service. Okay, so you're paying the vet to help your animals to feel better. What about doll? Is doll a good or a service? If you went to the store, would you buy the doll to take it home to keep, or would you be paying for a service? This is a good, yes. Okay. What about mowing your grass? Okay. If you paid someone to mow your grass for you, would that be a good or a service? Right, that is a service because you're paying someone else to do the job. Okay. A pet fish. Is a pet fish a good or a service? Right, that is a good. You would go to the store to buy the fish and then you would keep it. So that would be a good, okay? Watch. Would you buy a watch to keep as a good, or would you buy it, would you pay someone else to do a job for you? This is a good, yes. All right, what about cake? Is cake a good or a service? Right, it's a good. You would buy it to keep it and use it, okay? Now, if that card would have said baker, then it would have been a service because you'd be paying the baker to bake you a cake, right? But the cake itself is a good. What about a magic show? If you paid to get a ticket to a magic show, are you buying a good or a service? This is a service because you're paying someone to entertain you. Okay, so that is a service. Ooh, a sailboat. Is a sailboat a good or a service? That is a good. You would buy the sailboat and keep it, okay? This one says healthcare, so this would be like the doctor. Okay? When you go to the doctor, are you paying for a good or a service? That's a service, right? They help to make sure that you stay healthy, so you pay them for their service to help you feel better if you're sick or to keep you healthy. What about ring? Is that a good or a service? Right, that is a good. Let's do just two more. Okay, school. Your parents pay for you to go to school. If you go to a private school, they pay a tuition. If you go to a public school, they pay taxes to help pay for you to go to that school. So is that a good or a service? Are they paying for you to have something that you would keep and use, or are they paying for a service? Yes, they're paying for a service. So your principals and your teachers get paid to help you to learn and keep you safe while you are at school. And our last one is repairs. So this is a repairman. If your car breaks down and you take it to a repair shop, are you paying for a good or a service? You're paying for a service. You're paying that repairman to fix your car, okay? All right, good job. That was really great. So the next thing that I would like to do is talk about services. So I have another sort for you, but on this sort, we're going to do it on the blue. We are going to figure out which service we're getting from which place, okay? So where would we get that service? So down the side, I'm going to put the places, okay? So my first one, is the bank. Okay, so we have a bank. We have a bus stop. We have a post office. We have a hair salon. We have a fire station. We have a hospital. We have a police station. And we have a school. So these are all different places that you can go to get a service. And we have to figure out what kind of people would be giving us our service in these places. So if we went to the bank, what kind of service would we be getting at the bank? Right, we would be getting money. So that money that we learned about, we would be getting money there. So the person that works at the bank is called the bank teller. Okay, so we're going to match the teller to our bank picture. What about at the bus stop? What kind of service would you be getting at the bus stop? Yeah, exactly. You're going to have a bus driver pick you up to take you on the bus. Okay, so the bus driver is the person that provides the service for a bus station. What about the post office? What is the service that you get at the post office? Yes, you get your mail. Okay, so you have a mail carrier that brings it to your mailbox. And what about at the hair salon? What service are you getting at the hair salon? Right, you're going to get your hair cut there. Okay, you're going to get your hair cut. And at the fire station, what kind of service would you get at the fire station? Yeah, you have a firefighter who teaches us about fire safety and keeps us safe in the event of a fire. And at the hospital, we talked a little bit about that already. You have healthcare workers, nurses and doctors that help to keep you healthy, safe, and if you're sick, they help you to start feeling better. And the police station, we have a police officer, and a police officer helps to keep us safe and make sure that people are following laws. And we've learned a lot about laws in our past lessons, right? And then at school, the service that we are getting is learning, right? So here's a little girl and she is writing because she's learning at school. All right, how awesome. Thank you guys for helping me to sort those out and talk about those a little bit. So now that we've talked about goods and services, and we've talked about how we use money to buy those goods and services, and we've even sorted what goods and services are and who provides those services, if that is what we are buying. So now what I'd like you to do is we're going to do a little quiz. We're going to do a good or service quiz. So I'm going to give you an example, and if it is a good, you're going to stand up, okay? And if it's a service, you're going to sit down. So this will help us get our body moving a little bit, okay? All right, so car wash. Is that a good? If it's a good, stand up. If it's a service, sit down. Car wash. Right, that's a service. You take your car to the car wash and you pay people to clean your car. So that's a service, okay? A birthday card. Is that a good or a service? Right, that is a good. So you're going to stand up. A massage. So if you go to a spa and you get a massage, is that a good or a service? That's a service. Good. If you go to the store and you buy a movie, is that a good or a service? That's a good. So you should stand up, right? Okay. What about paint? If you're ready to paint your bedroom a new color and you go to the paint store to buy paint, are you buying a good or a service? That is a good. So stand up. Now, if you paid someone to paint the room for you, then that would be a service, okay? All right. You take your dog to the groomer to get a bath. Are you paying for a good or a service? That's a service. Good job. Stamps to send mail. The stamps are a good. Right. Good job. Groceries. Oh, we talked a lot about groceries. If you go to the grocery store and you buy groceries, are those a good or a service? Those are a good, so you should stand up. All right, toys. If you go to the store and you buy toys, are you buying a good or a service? Right, those are a good, so you should stand up. And last, a museum tour. So let's say you go to the art museum in Forest Park. Is that a good or a service? That's right, that's a service. Good job. So you guys did such a great job on your quiz. All right, so I have one more job that I'd like for you to do before we head off, okay? So today I'd really like if you guys could do a little bit of writing for me, okay? So I want you guys to do a little bit of writing. So you'll need a pen or a pencil, and you'll need a piece of paper. And what I'd like for you to write about today is a time that you bought a good or a service. So I'm going to show you what mine would look like. if I write about mine. Okay, so here's my blank paper, and I might start my sentence off by saying something like, one time I bought a service at the car wash. Okay, so there's my sentence explaining to you what I bought. I bought a service at the car wash. Okay, so I could say they washed the outside of my car with soap. They also cleaned the inside of my car. Okay, so you can take a few minutes to write a few sentences about a time that you bought either a good or a service. So my story was about how I bought a service. I took my car to the car wash and they washed the outside and the inside. So my money paid for a service, okay? All right, friends, that is all I have for you today. Thank you so much for joining me and learning all about goods and services. Hopefully you'll come back and join me again next week, and we'll be starting to learn about maps and traveling around the world. So that's really exciting. So have a great weekend, and I will see you soon. Bye, friends.
Teaching in Room 9 is made possible with support of Bank of America, Dana Brown Charitable Trust, Emerson, and viewers like you.